jobs. Let's go back to one of the big first secretaries. Joining me right now is Judge Andrew Napolitano with some of the breakdown of this. Let's talk about the issue here. One of the top issues why he's withdrawing is he says basically, I'm having conflicts of interest in terms of our ideology of where things are headed, and it comes down to the census. Layman's terms, what's happening here?
The Commerce Department will count noses. That is, literally knock on doors and find out how many people live behind those doors. And on the basis of those figures will be determined how many congressional representatives a city or town gets, what kind of federal aid the city or town gets, because that's determined by the population, and what the electoral vote of that town will be. If the White House runs the census, the White House has the option not to knock on doors and count noses, but to use computer models to estimate the number of people that live in inner cities. So if, for example, the White House wants to make the computer models show that Chicago, for example, suddenly has 12 million people and therefore is entitled to 10 more members of Congress, I'm exaggerating in order to demonstrate the point, then Chicago would get those 10 additional members of Congress, the suburbs would have fewer, there'd be more Democrats in the Congress, and thus more electoral votes in the state of Illinois for when the president runs for re-election.
Okay, bottom line, this is about the census moving to the White House out of the Commerce Department, but they just can't do this. It's a procedural issue here.
Correct. There's two ways they must do it under the law. Either the president has to reorganize the executive branch and publish the fact in a document called the Federal Register that he wants to move the census from Commerce to White House, and the Congress can stop that with a vote in 30 days, unlikely, or he has to ask the Congress to change the law. What's the difference where this is done? If Commerce does it, it's transparent, and they count noses. If the White House does it, it's not transparent, and they can use computer models, and they can just tell us the end result. They don't have to tell us how they got there.
Okay, Congressman Rahm Emanuel would be the one who would basically control this. You tell me, why would they do this, number one, at a time like this, particularly given everything else that they have to address in the economy? And number two, we've got two strikes out here on the Commerce Secretary. We're going to have the third guy step up the bat. Is this going to make the third person step up the bat and say no?
I suspect that they are very disappointed that Senator Judd Gregg withdrew, because he was a prize for them. The person replacing him is not the strong, conservative Republican from the independent state of New Hampshire that he is. But what does Rahm Emanuel want? Rahm Emanuel, for the president, would like to cement greater Democratic majorities in the Congress by showing that more people live in Democratic areas.
Judge, stick around.
You got it.
All right. Our Mike Emanuel is out in East Peoria, Illinois. He's been with the president. Mike, we're all